Yes, yes, y'all. It's another episode of the Klyph Notes podcast, available everywhere you get your podcasts. I'm gonna just get right into it, man. Having an opportunity to chop it up with this cat is always a blessing. It's kind of weird now though, like doing this episode of Klyph Notes compared to the first episode of Klyph Notes that we did. Times done changed, man. Like now this is still I'm still a huge fan, but it's just he's really the homie, man. Vursatyl is great. Back on the Klyph Notes podcast. What's good with you, bro?
Man, everything's good right now, man. I got no complaints, man. How you doing, Klyph?
Listen, brother, I am same, man. You know what I mean? I can't, shame on me if I complain. You know what I mean?
Indeed, man. Yeah.
We're recording this at the end of November. Just coming out of times where folks are gathering with family and friends, and you know, it's only right to connect with this cat, you know, during this season. Man, a lot to get caught up on though, B.
Yeah, man, a lot. How long has it been since the Klyph Notes episode that we did?
Oh my gosh, man. Well, it's crazy now because one of the things that I use as a marker for myself when it comes to time is the pandemic. So it was years before the pandemic jumped off. So it had to have been at least 6 years, maybe 5.
Wow.
6 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
a lot's happened since then.
Majorly, bro. Majorly.
Let's hit on a couple of the highlights though, bro. Since we last talked, you and the crew, Rev Shines and Jumbo the Garbage Man were inducted into the Oregon Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah, man, was that okay? Yeah, bro. That is, I have to be honest, man, like there's a lot of things that since we started, there's a lot of things that happen, you know, that you plan for or, you know, set as goals, but the Oregon Music Hall of Fame was something that wasn't on like our to-do list. You know what I mean? So but oddly enough, like a lot of things that we were able to check off of those, like our list of goals and aspirations, some of those things were anticlimactic, you know, because once you get there, you're looking to the next thing, you know. But with the Oregon Music Hall of Fame, upon finding out about it, that we were going to be inducted, it pretty immediately became a big deal to me, and it still is now. So it's one of those things that, again, it's not something that we were shooting for, but I think I speak for all three of us that we're extremely honored to be a part of that legacy, you know, and because it is exclusive, at least, you know, at this juncture, you know, so it says a lot that out of all of the talent here in Oregon, historically, right, not just in our era, but things that came before us, and you know, people that we came up with, for us to be chosen, it's an honor, you know. So it hasn't faded. It's actually something that, you know, I really am proud to say that we're, you know, inductees, man, into the Oregon Music Hall of Fame. It's something that makes me really proud, and my father was able to know about that, and you know, and know that I got inducted as a member of Lifesavers, and it was something that really made him proud. You know, my mother had passed on, so you know, just to kind of be able to do something that your parents, it goes beyond the genre, you know, because it wasn't the hip hop Hall of Fame, and you know, not that that would have been less of an honor, but the fact that it's all encompassing for every genre, and we were chosen, man. It's just it's really made me proud.
No doubt. And then more recently, the crew was immortalized visually on a wall here in the city. You know, another another example of how the city of Portland, the state of Oregon, appreciates what Lifesavers has brought to the music scene as artists. Because again, when you look at the people who were also depicted on that wall, it is representative of many different genres.
It is once again, an honor. And so with the Portland Music Legends mural, I had gotten an email a couple of years prior to the mural coming into fruition that there was going to be a mural made, um, and uh, and the organizer, as he was telling me about it, to be honest with you, once again, it's one of those things where I was just like, okay, yeah, whatever,
Hmm. Hmm.
because over the past 35 years, it's just been so many promises and big ideals and, things for you to be excited about, that it seemed to be one of those things that, okay, it could happen, it couldn't. And I didn't even have a context again for like, um, how big of a deal it would actually become. So when I got, after several emails and several, uh, I don't know, kind of like critiques of it, when they would send me versions of it, um, early on, I just need to make sure that the fellas were properly represented. But again, I never thought that it was going to be as big of a deal as it was, and didn't even had really kind of forgot that it was going to happen. So when I got the email telling me that they were going to do the unveiling of it,
Hmm.
um, I hit the fellas, let them know what was happening, and when I got down there and I saw Shines there,
Hmm.
we then began to see, other musicians that were represented on the mural. And some guys were like coming from having lunch, some guys were like off playing pool or, you know, nobody thought that it was like, oh, let's just go down there and see what it's going to be. No one that we talked to, that was including Mel Brown. Mel Brown was there, um, and with his family or one of his family members. And again, they were just out to lunch and was like, hey, let's go over there and see what that's all about. And so as we gathered, there was just all of this sort of reckoning happening, by the artists that were going to be on the mural. Like, wow, this is a major deal. And we didn't even, nobody really could prepare for it, so you didn't know until you were at that moment, and all of the news and fans were there. Most of the artists, every artist that I talked to was completely sort of just like surprised and astounded, but happily so, like just juiced. Like, wow, this is major, to be captured in that way, and then also to be in the company of so many like legendary Oregon artists. It was another honor, something again like I've been back down there just to kind of marvel at it, a couple of times because it's just not something you can plan for,
Right.
and you never know who's um, who's taking in the art, who's listening, who's appreciating. And there's, on the journey, I mean, as you and I have shared, when we talk, sometimes, it's easy to think that, the art got missed,
Hmm.
So that was that's just a real cool reminder. Again, something I'm proud of. I'm not one to really kind of say much about what I'm doing, but to be able to tell my family and visitors that come into town, like, hey, it's there, go check it out. It's one of those things that I'm happy to share with people that that really makes me feel good that what Lifesavers did resonated on such a level that it would be appreciated like that.
No doubt. And to keep it 100, bro, it's so cool that it happened now. What I mean by that is oftentimes those tributes are done when we lose folk
Yeah,
in in memory of. And so for this to happen where people are here where they can see it, and everything that you just described, I think is really dope.
it's really dope. And again, to your point, yeah, I love that. When I'm traveling, I always like to go to the neighborhoods of the artists that I dig, you know what I mean, while I listen to those records to see how much the city or places that I'm at, see how much it feels like, you know, the music that was made from there.
Mhm.
And most times it's pretty spot on. And to your point, like with the exception of like maybe Nas and Queens and Outkast in Atlanta, you know, there's not many artists who are still alive where you go and you see murals of them, you know, in their neighborhoods or in their hometowns. You
Mhm.
know, most time when you go, it's, you know, you see murals of brothers and sisters that have passed on. So yeah, you know, I feel honored that hey, I can see it myself. You know, I don't have to, you know, get out of here before it gets celebrated. So it's dope.
No doubt, no doubt. From a sort of a personal point of view, where things are now. Well, I guess before I get to that, just the simple fact that, man, you have continued to create and bless the listening ears with
Mm,
really great music over the, continually,
I don't.
very recently dropping music, which I think is really cool because you've been in the game for a minute, and to continue to make art and continue to have this be a part of your life journey. Do you give that any thought, or are you just in it and just doing it?
I think that when you get to this stage, I think maybe more so developmentally,
Hmm.
I'm at a I'm at a place in life where I feel like everyone, I won't say everyone, but most people get to at this age
Hmm.
where there is a certain amount of like uh, retrospective, you know,
Hmm.
moments where you're figuring out this next chapter.
Hmm.
Um, Again, you know, there's books written on this where you know you get to this age, it's like you kind of look back on your life and say, okay, man, all right, that's what that was, and you know, so now how am I going to approach this next chapter? You
Hmm.
know, so it's kind of part of the process as you're looking to approach the next chapter to kind of make sure, you know, to try to see how you're gonna do things that broaden the story
Hmm.
and not just retell the same story
Hmm.
that the chapters before told. So I guess on a level, yeah, I kind of look at what happened so that I can kind of better plan how to move forward. But I don't feel like there's anything that I've done that I want to redo. You know, everything that I'm doing now is definitely about trying to improve, trying to you know, do the best work that I can. I still believe that my best work is ahead of me.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and the crazy thing is that I know it is. You know, I know it is because there's so many things that I'm doing now, stuff that I've released where I know that maybe from a listener's perspective, you know, no different than when you're on stage. When we first started doing shows, you know, you would get people to say like, "Man, you guys did a great show," and we felt real critical of the show. Even now, you know, you feel critical of what you do. But I remember being real young. It was like they would tell us, "If you mess up, just keep going."
Hmm.
You know, if you mess up, just keep going, because the audience won't know unless you show them. So, in terms of like growth and things that I aspire to do, you find yourself tooling and sort of tweaking things that maybe the audience doesn't they don't catch that you're working on, that you're tweaking to try to get better or to try to improve or maybe to try to say something new and fresh or just broaden your horizons artistically, and then, you know, again, raise the bar for yourself in terms of excellence and the quality of music. But I see it very well with everything that I've done, particularly over the past like 6 years. I'm really excited about the growth that I see from the days of Lifesavers to now. You know, some of it is just like just being a better recording artist. You know, meaning how to get my ideas to translate in the actual recording, being behind the microphone, technically, like kind of how I want, what sort of resonance I want, just what sort of presence I want, what sort of emotion I want, all of those things just from a recording standpoint. I'm really excited about the growth there. And then I'm sitting on so much music that I'm just excited because I know that maybe what the audience hasn't heard, and that they might be feeling like, man, when are we going to get more of what you used to do?
Mhm.
Um, I have all this fresh stuff that I know will ring that same bell of what they enjoyed about stuff from, my back catalog. So yeah, there's a certain duality of checking what's been done before, but not revisiting in a way that's redundant or repetitive.
Yeah, yeah. Chopping up with Vursatyl. Um, as a part of this journey, you have taken a lot of what you just spoke of, the things that you've learned, the experiences that you've had in the past, and you are in the role of, like, truly in the role of OG and mentor to a young man who is just about out of here. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Um, Lunden Benard, who just dropped a new single recently, but a lot of folk got to hear him for the first time on records that he did with you. Being
yeah.
in that role of OG, being in that role of mentor, was that something that you always aspired to do? Was that something that just happened organically?
Yeah, I mean, so in a way, Cliff, again, these are like things that I learned over time. So in um, I want to say 1990, let's say like 93,
Hmm.
something like that. Um, Lifesavers had probably been around for, and we've been formally a group about maybe a year and a half or something like that, 2 years by that point. And we already had a record label, which is kind of, I think, kind of consistent with hip hop, right? Like, especially underground independent hip hop, you become an artist and then you're looking for a vehicle to put your music out on. So you come up with a record label. So we had a record label pretty immediately, Misfit Records. And upon announcing that you have a record label, it's going to be, pretty assured that something's going to have to populate that in addition to your own material. So, it didn't take long for us. I mean, I guess a couple of years later, we wound up having other artists who were kind of poised to come out on that label. So here I am, don't even have my own record deal, and we're kind of bringing groups and artists along to be a part of Misfit Records. Um, with the hope that, yeah, we'll kind of have this label full of like dope artists.
Yeah.
And some of that was sort of like, it was backwards thinking because you feel like you kind of want to get your foot in the door first and then you start a label, you know,
Hmm.
which in essence, man, yeah, that not only made sense to do,
Hmm.
it's the way, it's probably the most productive way to, to actually do it. So again, yeah, even though we had been kind of having aspirations of releasing artists, I mean, in essence, libretto. Um, Once we did Misfit Records, we had Misfit Massive, which included us, Lifesavers, group called B Thought, artist named Bleak. We had libretto, um, and we had other artists that were kind of loosely a part of Lifesavers. So we did release a compilation. Jumbo actually spearheaded a compilation called Bomb Threat at that time
Hmm.
that had all of those artists on our label. So what's happening with Lunden Benard really kind of got started in the early to mid '90s.
Got
You
you.
know,
Got you.
so it's not a new aspiration, but I think I'm much more poised to be effective with that now.
He has the the sensibilities of artists from the era that I'm comfortable saying we're both from. I
Yeah.
had a chance to have him as a guest on the radio show, on the Walk Through the Neighborhood radio show when he first
Yeah.
dropped Step Into My Zone, and
Hmm.
everything about it, visually, sonically, like he definitely has that aesthetic down.
Yeah.
Not someone who um, is doing is doing something, but more someone who is really about that time, which is so dope.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
can't
sorry.
help but think that you've got to be a huge influence on that.
Uh, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. But I will say this: that Lunden Benard is he is organically and authentically himself.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, what you see from him, that's him.
Hmm.
You it's not a gimmick. It's not anything that I had to intentionally groom, which is what I think is so dope about Lunden Benard is that oftentimes there's sort of this maybe a toxic conversation between the older generation and the younger generation where it seems like there's infighting, where it's like a shame on you for not carrying on a legacy, and then the younger generation is saying, we don't care about that legacy, we doing our own thing. What I think is dope about Lunden Benard is he is very much a part of the new generation
Hmm.
who represents and understands that um, what he's doing is not an old thing. It's just the original thing.
Right.
It's just the essence of this culture. And I think, he's really an example of that narrative that when you think of jazz music, um, jazz does have a sound that comes to mind. You
Hmm.
know, you think about a walking bass, and the way jazz music boom 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 boom. That's how you think jazz kind of sounds. That's like if you told a band to play some jazz, it would sound like that. If you told somebody to play some blues, it would be dum, 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 dum.
Right.
Even though there's many blues songs that don't do that and many jazz songs that are not that,
Hmm.
that's kind of what is the framework, right, of those genres. The same thing goes for rock. When you think about rock, you think about this distorted guitar or whatever. So with hip hop, I think London represents the reminder that what you hear him doing is just hip hop. It's not old. It's not new. It's just the way hip hop sounds. It is the hip hop sound, and then just not that. It's like visually the things that you see him doing visually, or how he is as an individual, his style, uh, and all of that's just hip hop culture.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
the fact that maybe it originated in the '80s, you can still rock and do all of that stuff today.
Yeah.
It's still as fly today as it was then. So it's just hip hop culture that he represents. London is I thought he was very important to the conversation between two generations, again, to kind of say to both of us that it's still there, that culture is still there, that it's useful to anyone. The music, the sound, the vibe, the drums, the samples, the clothes, you dig, the slang, the bars, all of that's gonna always be acceptable and useful and valuable in this culture. And that's what London is. He's the personification
Hmm.
of how hip hop should continue to be its authentic self.
Yeah. And again, I love that you have someone who has been through time enough and has that understanding to create a sense of authentic in my words, authenticity, because I think
Mhm.
that we're in an age now where it's so great that everyone can create art and present that art and put it out for people to consume. And then as we consume art, it just as human beings, we categorize art. And
Right.
there are subcategories, right? And things sort of get it's hard to identify what's this and what's that. But at the end of the day, I love what you said. Like they're just, I mean, there are just some foundational things, and when those foundational things are in place, it's hip hop.
It's hip hop. It's hip hop, and that's London proves because he's that generation and he digs it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
appeals to him.
Mm-hmm.
It motivates and inspires him.
Yeah.
So, and we see through everything that he's on that there's his peers and other people, young people his age, once they see what he's doing and they hear what he's doing, they're like, man, this is dope. Like, it doesn't have to, in order to be new, it doesn't necessarily have to have any particular drums or approach to it. It's new because it's Lunden Benard, because it's Joey Badass, because it's um, you know, Griselda. It's new because we haven't heard them do it yet.
Yeah.
You know.
As so I would be remiss if I didn't ask, his single was released on Misfit Records.
Yeah, man.
What's next with Misfit Records? Is there
Um,
coming? Is there an EP coming? Is there a Vursatyl album coming?
yeah, man. You know, it's funny because, so to answer your question, the Lunden Benard album is definitely coming.
Mm-hmm.
I have it. I have the whole album. Um, we have to do, some post production stuff
Mm-hmm.
and get into the mixing of it. But the Lunden Benard album will come. We're looking at maybe the second quarter of 2025,
Okay.
because we want to drop maybe another two songs
Mm-hmm.
to lead up to that. But the Lunden Benard album is it's basically done. I know London has some things that he wants to maybe add to it,
Mm-hmm.
but or replace some things here or there. But ultimately, the record is finished, and yeah, it's coming, man. And I really believe that it's gonna open the floodgates. London, in a short amount of time, things. There was many things that I accomplished in my career, as we talked about earlier, and those things are dope. But there were a lot of goals I had for myself and places that I want, spaces that I saw myself being a part of, continuums and things like that, villages that I felt like I fit, lifesavers fit, particularly Jumbo and myself and Shines. Like, there were certain spaces that we felt like we fit in, but those things sort of eluded us over our career, given circumstances beyond our control.
Mm-hmm.
But London is checking those boxes, man, weekly. You know, um, he's just getting love in all of those spaces that I really shot for him, and that we were focused on for him. So sometimes we're at a place right now where it's not necessarily how many people know, but it's who knows.
Yeah.
And so we're really excited about the fact that there's a groundswell sort of developing for London, and I'm really excited, man. I think he's about to kill it.
That's what's up, man. I don't remember how long ago it was. Again, I think it was pre-pandemic. Farside was performing in Portland, and I had I had an opportunity to see London perform. That was the first time I had a chance to see him bless a
Yeah,
stage, and
indeed.
had a chance. And I was there spinning for Unlearn the World, who was on the bill,
Hmm.
and you and London were on the bill, and I had an opportunity to spin for y'all's set. which I feel
Right.
like that might have been the second time I had a chance to spin for you. There was an event that you had done years
It
prior, like a
works.
December event that I had a chance to spin for.
Hmm. Hmm.
And since then, I have had an opportunity to share the stage with you on numerous occasions. It's kind of
Yeah,
like it's a
bro.
thing now, bruh.
It's a thing, man. It's a thing. Yeah, listen, Klyph. And for it's funny because I was at the set the other night, and a guy was talking to me and wanted to talk to me, and he was really he was at not that Far Side show, but he was at the Far Side show that we did together, just you and I, when London couldn't be there for that.
Mhm.
Um, but he was super impressed. He had all of these sort of mental notes about what we had done that night, about the set. He was super hyped to see you be on the microphone, you know,
Yeah,
and so I kind of shared with him how that evolved, or kind of our conversation about that loosely, and yeah, man, it's like sometimes there are things that are just meant to happen, and so I'm really fortunate, man, that that you and I linked up to work together, man. In that capacity, it's the after my DJ Slider Brown Hornet, big up Slider Brown Hornet.
slide.
Um, he wound up having a very demanding job, and so I couldn't, I couldn't interrupt that groove, man, and put pressure on him to sort of reschedule things, man. He has a family to take care of, so I was left without a DJ, man. And for me, it's not just about having somebody on the turntable. It's not just having a DJ, but it's about having a chemistry and a brotherhood, and someone that I can build with and kind of bring into the creative process of this live show. The Vursatyl live show. So, man, I'm super honored, first of all, that you agreed to do it, and then, you just kill it, man. So it's dope. Like, I don't, there's no end in sight, Klyph. We rock until the wheels fall off, bro.
That's what's up, bro. Because again, I come to really everything that people see me do. I come to these things as a fan first. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so for me to be able to be in this space with someone um, who I admire artistically, but then to get to know you and admire you as a man, and then to be able to be in a creative space with you is just it's really really dope. So thank you. You know what I mean? Thank you
Oh
for
man,
the stage, bro.
yeah, no, listen, thank you, Cliff. I've told you before. Thank you. I mean, it's nothing like being able to be on stage and focus on performing for the audience without having to worry about if things are gonna go right with with your music, or um the pieces again that are kind of out of your control in that moment, man. So you really provide, again, not you're not just back there for show. you know you're the one man band. you know you're orchestrating things, man, and as well, to be able to have you on the microphone in those spaces, and just coordinating, and also what you do for our live show when we rehearse, and things that you bring to the table creatively. Those things are just, man, so valuable, that you don't get to have that with everybody. And so I'm thankful, man. I'm really grateful. I don't take it for granted. And y'all in trouble, because the more that Klyph and I get down and do this thing, man, the show is just it's gonna go to the next level.
That's what's up, bro. Um, there was an opportunity recently for uh, folk in Portland to reminisce a bit and to celebrate so much of what you've talked about in terms of the history. At the
Mm.
Alberta Street Pub, we got an opportunity to see you rock with a live band, and
Yeah,
Misfit Massive was in the building. Jumbo the
the
Garbage
masses
Man
is
was on the ones and twos. Libretto
yeah,
blessed the stage. Um,
indeed,
Destro was there. Doc Rock was there. Um,
indeed.
such a dope night, bro,
Oh,
to see that history, on the stage, and
mm.
uh, just to be in that space, maybe for people who hadn't had a chance to experience it early on, or people who did who just missed seeing it. Is that something that you look to do more of?
I, there was immediately conversation about doing that again, as
Mhm.
soon as we got done. And then big up to Tyrone Hendricks, who kind of curated and curates those nights at Alberta Street Pub. He's a central part of how a lot of Alberta Street Pub is kind of formulating and moving forward.
Mhm.
He's part owner of the venue now. So Tyrone had been reaching out to me, for years to try to do something. And obviously, when Tyrone first moved to town, Tony Ozier, who was playing that night,
Mhm.
um, AG Donaloya had been doing his thing, but um, those particular characters, obviously, I mean, particular players, we obviously had Popcorn on keys that night.
Mhm.
Um, but Tony Ozier, Tyrone Hendricks, and A.G. Donaloya um, they had been Lifesavers, a part of the Lifesavers live band um, around 2007. And in terms of doing things that cohesively, I don't, that was kind of the beginning of some live music for them. They kind of took that what we were doing, and they kind of formulated their own movement. So they became kind of the nucleus of kind of soul R&B live music
Mhm.
that kind of jumped off from that Lifesavers experience. So it was cool to kind of come back together with them. We were all excited to do that.
Yeah.
Um, and Tyrone wanted to do that with me with the mindset that, yeah, we would see how it worked
Mhm.
and see how it could fit into what's happening over there at Alberta Street Pub, and maybe some other places that are sort of catering to more like an adult contemporary audience, which is not necessarily an audience I've played for much. I'm pretty strictly hip hop music and hip hop audiences, or maybe multi-genre festivals, but still kind of isolated to audiences that appreciate hip hop. But with such uh, a burgeoning adult contemporary R&B soul scene here right now that's embracing live music, Tyrone had really been wanting to bring what I do in and try to introduce that audience to some hip hop. So we're still trying to wrap our head around how to do that in a way that that audience can feel it the same way that they're feeling the covers of Jill Scott and Erica Badu kind of vibe that they're getting on. But as we kind of tool up with it, I think there's going to be a way for us to do it more often. So people seem to dig it, man. I had a blast that night, and it was obviously dope to be there with Jumbo on the wheels like that, just having him spinning throughout the course of the night, and then us being able to kind of do some things together.
Yeah.
So it was magical. We'll see, man. We're just gonna try to keep tooling at it and see how much the people want to be involved with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's interesting too because you know we start talking about your process as a creative, building that, getting into a place now where you are, um, sort of mentoring that next generation of Misfit Massive,
Yeah.
doing things like the show at Alberta Street, where okay, it's a little bit different than what you would do normally, and
Hmm.
that continues. It's cool to see that continued theme of you starting to do more of things that maybe you hadn't done before because now like you producing live shows, but you curating shows, B.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean? Like
Hey.
here's the next thing.
The crazy thing, man, was I having this conversation last night that there's an old saying that necessity is the mother of invention.
Sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
so some of this is be clear that Lunden Benard is 100% Misfit Records, Misfit Massive. That's 100% of my focus right now. Everything that's happening for me individually is is very intentional and deliberately a part of Lunden Benard's ascension. You know, at this juncture in my career, you know, I have a lot of music to release and a lot of things to do, but my focus is more to simply use that as a way to leverage, you know, gateways and doors and opportunities that the next generation can walk through
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, and take it to the next level. So any way that I can serve Lunden Benard, I have another artist named Go. And as I get things ready for them, or as I do things for myself, it really is just hopefully a way to get people to gather and commune and be focused on good music so that it'll shed light on what Lunden Benard and Go will bring and other artists that come after them.
Got you. Um, you've put together an event um, to sort of cap off the year, everything that you've had a chance to do this year um, with releasing music of your own and all the things
Mhm.
we've already spoken, which we didn't really talk much. We should also let folk know, like, you got some singles out there that we need to make sure if people listen to my radio show, of course they're going to hear it. But if people
Right.
haven't tapped in to Welcome to the Neighborhood, they may not know, about
Mm.
where I come from. They may not know about some of these other
Wow.
joints that you. So, man, I just want to give you a chance to let people know what's up with the music that you have out right now.
Yeah, and I'll try to sum this up quick, but you know, I've been dropping singles. Um, after in 2015, I put out a project called Crooked Straits that had some outtakes from a solo album that, you know, I've been tooling on for a long time. And so some of the songs that, you know, weren't going to make that album in 2015, I released and called it Crooked Straits. But since then, yeah, I've released a lot of singles and done a lot of collaborative work. And, you know, a part of this specific movement, we released I Don't Want You Anymore, which was Lunden Benard's debut.
Mhm.
And that's actually me singing on the song because, you know, long term, that's what you will probably hear Vursatyl doing more than anything. And, you know, in the years to come, you know, 7 years from now, 6, 7 years from now, I probably will transition out of like rhyming, you know, as much, but to probably doing mostly, you know, vocal stuff, singing stuff like that. I'm thinking, you know, 2030, yeah, that'll be where it's at.
Yeah.
Um, but I released I Don't Want You Anymore, London Benard's debut. Then we did Secondhand Smoke, featuring Lunden Benard, produced by Vitamin D. Um, I Don't Want You Anymore was produced by Jake One. I came back with uh, Let Me Know, produced by Jake One as well. Then we dropped Hard on the Boulevard, which is produced by Knots. And again, the relevant thing about all of these songs is that sonically, this is setting up what you will hear from Vursatyl, like in terms of musically, you
Mhm.
know. The songs and the feel of the songs will evolve. There's, you know, definitely stuff that's relative to what you've known me for in the past. But yeah, those songs are really sort of the bedrock to my sound and to the stuff that I think is dope. So big up to Knots, Jake One, you know, and if you don't know, you guys can check and Google them. But you know, they've worked with everybody from Jay-Z to Drake, you know, Busta Rhymes, you name it, the who's who, Kendrick Lamar, Vitamin D produced for Kendrick. Actually, Kendrick Lamar took a beat on Section 80. That was the beat that's produced by Vitamin D. That was my song, Kendrick. So, you know, but yeah, I had a joint to that joint called Time. I still got it too. But
Mm.
yeah, that sound, those producers are going to be the producers, them and including S1,
Mhm.
who's produced for Kanye West and Madonna and, you know, you name it. S1, Vitamin D, Jake One, and Knots are pretty much the core producers that I'll be releasing music with when I release a complete body of work. Those will be the producers that are be at the helm. But it's just been a lot of good music. Make sure you go to, you know, my YouTube page, go to Vursatyl um, on Instagram and the various sites. But yeah, you can look me up on the streaming sites. Vursatyl, baby. It's good music there, and we just begun.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So I alluded to it. The closing out 2024. You're doing an event. You're putting on an event that's happening on the 29th of December, bringing world famous Beat Junkie to Portland, bro. Like speak on that.
Man, there's so much I don't know, man. There's just so much serendipitous factors to this J Rocc show. But yeah, December 29th at the White Eagle, J Rocc, Los Angeles own, world famous Beat Junkie. You might have seen him on stages with J Lib, which is Mad Lib, and Dilla, J Dilla, rest in peace. And you have to even just think about how significant that is, right? That, you know, for independent underground hip hop, and then even for, neo soul, those two brothers, Mad Lib and J Dilla, specifically J Dilla, rest in peace, kind of shape a whole genre of music. So J Rocc is kind of part of that continuum. Stone's Throw Records, is a part of that sound, that vibe. So just very important to not just independent hip hop, but just music in general, Black music in general. And yeah, Rev Shines will be spinning that night. But there's so much, man. J Rocc, when I first went on tour in 1999, I was playing a festival with Black Alicious and Latyrix in Rennes, France. And I was trying to give our demo. I'm just a young cat from Oregon on my first international tour, trying to give my demo, which had a song on it called Head Exercise, which would ultimately become our Lifesaver's first single. I was giving that demo to the Beat Junkies and to Cut Chemist backstage at the Trans Musicale Festival. And so here it is years later. I saw J Rocc a couple of times, man. I was in Rotterdam, Holland. We were playing a gig in Rotterdam, Holland, and I saw J Rocc backstage. The Beat Junkies had just rocked, and saw him and Babu and DJ Rhythmatic backstage. And I was talking to J Rocc, just reintroducing myself, and just saying, man, we just got on a conversation about Mad Lib and Dilla, and I was like, man, I'm a Mad Lib fan, man. He went back to his dressing room and gave me a stack of CDs, like those burnable CDs, like of exclusive Mad Lib beats. He was just like, here,
Yeah.
And so, I got a disc man on the tour bus, just vibing out to unreleased Mad Lib beats, dreaming that I could spit over these Mad Lib beats. So here a couple of months ago, in efforts to try to do something to, like you said, to kind of encapsulate a great year for Misfit Massive, Lunden Benard, myself, 2024. I was wanting to do something to kind of celebrate that. And actually, Jerobi from A Tribe Called Quest, Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, recent inductees, A Tribe Called Quest. Jerobi White from A Tribe Called Quest was supposed to come out on December 29th. But given, man, that's just worldwide news. You understand? Like, no bigger honor to get than the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We wanted to give people a chance to marinate on that, so we're going to be bringing Jerobi real soon. But we thought it's suitable and fitting while that marinate to bring in another heavyweight. So I reached out to J Rocc just on a whim, not sure if he remembered me, not sure if, he would recall, us knowing each other, man. But I reached out to him, and he was just gracious enough, man, to not only respond, but just to recall the brotherhood and recall the experience. And he was more than happy to come, and he's excited to be here. So December 29th, you're going to kind of see 25 years, man, of West Coast independent underground hip hop explode on one stage, with J Rocc, myself, and Rev Shines would be holding down the tables. And I'm lucky enough to have DJ Klyph holding it down. So you don't want to miss it. It's just it's gonna be phenomenal. And I'm not in the habit of curating my own show, but given again necessities call, we had to make it happen. So Vursatyl presents J Rocc, December 29th, baby.
Word. I think that um to have for individuals to have an opportunity to see artists of this caliber, everybody who's on the bill, renowned, have performed, have touched continents,
Yeah.
to see that all in up close and personal.
Yeah.
Man, I really hope people come out and just experience this, man. This is one of those nights I think that will be parts of conversations for years to come, for those who make it there, and but also for those who were like, oh man, I can't believe I missed it. So we want to make sure if you're seeing this, spread the word, let people know like J Rocc is coming to Portland on December 29th.
Definitely. And something I wanted to say about that is one of the beautiful things about this is that most times when I'm doing live shows, if I am opening, the opening artist is usually for a rapper or another MC.
Mm-hmm.
So to be on a bill, kind of going in between two DJs, it really feels like I'm a part of this representation of DJ culture
Mm-hmm.
and turntablists, and that's really I really want to just make sure that people understand this is something for everybody. It's not just to come out and spectate, but J Rocc and Shines provide danceable uh sets that they do, so people can come dance, rock out, but then you're also going to be able to see one of the world's greatest DJs in terms of turntablism, technique and skill. So we want the DJ community here in Portland, man. If you rock, if you're an aspiring DJ, if you know the math, you know the history, we just looking to see all these elements of hip hop converge. B-boys, B-girls, come out, get on the floor rock, get busy. It's going to be that type of night. It's going to be funky, soulful, and just representative of the culture that we all know and love.
That's what's up, man. December 29th, White Eagle Saloon. It's J Rocc, Vursatyl, DJ Rev Shines. Tickets are available right now. Don't wait
Right now.
a minute, man, because for an event like this, you just want to make sure that you were in the building. So go get them tickets, man.
There we go. There we go.
Bruh, I once again just appreciate you for what you continue to do for the art form. I appreciate being just a part of the journey with you, man. Thank you so much for continuing down this path. We know that life happens, and being an artist is not an easy thing, and a lot of times folk have to move in a different direction, but you've continued to do what you do. And so from a fan perspective, thank you for continuing to do it, bro. How can people support it? How can people get behind it? How can people continue to allow you to do this?
Again, man, you can follow me. My name is spelled Vursatyl, Vursatyl, and I'm Versatile the Great on Instagram. So if you go to Instagram.com/Versatile the Great, or search for me, Versatile the Great, spelled Vursatyl. But you can also look for me on all of those streaming sites, as well as bandcamp.com/Versatile, Vursatyl. If you spell it that way and you Google, you'll find me, baby. And I just need you to show all the love and support that you can. But I do want to take this opportunity to say, Klyph, and I think I know that I speak for everyone who has been able to be a part of anything that you've been doing. Thank you. Um, just for providing the space and the opportunity, the voice, and the platform for all of us to be heard. Knowing that you're creative yourself, it's just beautiful to see your humility and your openness to provide these opportunities in these spaces for musicians and artists and people to be heard, man, and to get the word out about what we're doing. It doesn't go unnoticed. It doesn't go unappreciated. I don't take it for granted. And thank you on behalf of everyone who has said it and who wants to say it. we appreciate you, bro.
That's what's up, man. That's love, man. I'm grateful that I have the platforms to share, man. It's really it's a gift to me to be able to do it. So thank you, man. That means a lot. Vursatyl the Great, come rock with him. I should let people know, like a week from yesterday, December the 5th, we're gonna be down at U of O at the 11th annual hip hop jam. That's a free event.
I believe. Is it free?
I don't know if it's a free event. Don't listen to me. But next Thursday, December the 5th, Vursatyl is headlining. The lineup is dope. It's the 11th annual. It's so cool that this organization, started by students, from what I understand, have continued to do this over the years, man. So if you are in the Eugene area, or if you in the Portland area, head down to Eugene December the 5th. It's gonna be a dope night.
Yeah, come down to Eugene, man. Come on, man. You can make that drive. You know what I mean? Come rock with us. Big up to Milk, Dobleon, Spinach, DJ Food Stamp.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be a dope night, man. There's gonna be B-girls, B-boys, and yeah, we're excited about it, man. It's dope to be back in Eugene and dope to be back at the University of Oregon, and again, to kind of be in this time slot with this sort of lineup is something you just don't want to miss, man. We're very well aligned, which I really love. I love properly curated lineups, and so this is a lineup that it's not going to let up. Once it gets started, you're going to be, if you dig this vibe, this is the perfect meal.
Exactly, throughout the night. Once again, y'all, man, Vursatyl the Great, brother, man. Thank you so much for coming back on the podcast. It's been dope.
Yeah, right on for having me, Klyph. Let's do it again and again.
Absolutely, bro. All right, y'all. Once again, thank you so much for checking out the Klyph Notes podcast. Remember, it's available everywhere you listen to podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the whole nine. You can also check out the podcast on YouTube. Check out the video on YouTube. Share it, like it. Thank you so much to Vursatyl, and big ups to Theory Has It for creating the official theme song for the Klyph Notes podcast. All right, y'all. Until we have to do this again, y'all be blessed. Peace.